Hi guys, welcome back to another unboxing and review video. So up today we have the new to 2019 Halo Mega Construx Kinsano Cyclops Raid. The set retails for $19.99 and I found it at my local Target. They are selling at Walmart's and on Amazon as well if you're unable to find them in your local stores. So we'll take a look at the packaging first. The front of it obviously showcasing everything that you're getting in the set, the Cyclops, fighting off some of the flood, and that includes 232 pieces. On the back side, we have, again, the accessories that are included. So we have the tactical shotgun. We've got Morgan over here with her additional helmet, which is nice that they included that in. Some of the flood, and then on the bottom right shows kind of the mechanism of how you get Morgan in and out of the mech. On the bottom, we have just some of their sets in the line. And then with that being said, I think first thing we'll take a look at is Morgan. And so this was kind of the, surprisingly to me, kind of the highlight of the set for me. So Morgan has a lot of brand new molds and like custom armor specifically for her. So right off the bat, probably the most notable is that the chest armor on her chest has the red and blue paint application on her upper chest as well as onto her shoulders on both sides. So moving that shotgun out of the way, you can see that it's got on all sides of her armor. On the back, there is no extra paint application, which is unfortunate, but the front of it's really nice. Her head mold is new as well, and so again, I'm not like a huge fan of the pinhole eyes, but they do a good job with her as they included painting the whites of her eyes as well, so it doesn't look as dead. Morgan has some custom as well. She's got some custom tattooing on her face on the left side as well as under her chin. She's got red lips that are very prominent on the set or on her head. So that looks really nice. I was actually really impressed with that. There's 3 of these flood. They're minor form right here. This is the newer mold, so the tentacles do release from the figure and they go back in. It's a kind of a softer, like a softer rubberish than the older flood that I remember. I had some of the older ones back, what was that, like 2013 style. So it's been a while since I've collected some of the flood, but it has been a notable difference in plastic that they've used as well as articulation for them. So probably the biggest thing out of the set and what most people care about is the mech. So I actually purchased this for the mech, and this is the first mech that I've gotten out of the Halo line. I've skipped on a lot of the Cyclopses just because I didn't think they looked really neat, but I'm a huge flood fan, so of course I had to get this one. So the articulation for this guy, so it's got ball joints in both shoulders and then as well as the elbow joints, and then it's got 1 point of articulation for the legs. So it's got a ball joint on the hip, and that is it. I would say probably the most frustrating thing about this Cyclops, and again, I don't know if this is with all of them, but on the leg articulation for this, the ball joint is nice, but there's no articulation in the foot or in the kind of the knee area. This is all fixed in place, and so this was actually kind of some alternative building styles I haven't seen Mega do before. So they are done on obviously studs, but at the same time I've used a lot of the studs with the holes in the middle, so rods are punching through, and you can see that right here as well. So everything is fixed in place, so it's not going to, fall apart. But again, the frustrating part with it is that whenever you look at playability, you sacrifice articulation or something like that. So there's always kind of a give to everything that they do. With this, I would definitely say there's some playability for this, but the articulation has definitely suffered. The left leg is exactly the same method through that, so that's nothing that's changed. As you've seen, one of the toes came off. So the arms, each of them have flamethrowers attached underneath their forearms. So the fingers, there are 3 fingers for each hand. They are articulated, so you can move them. That's pretty cool. The flamethrower itself, so it's just a rod that's underneath it with the nice flame portion that's attached to it. It can be removed. You can remove it, so you can have one side shooting, another side not shooting. I'm not sure if these are supposed to be blades or if these are just flamethrower guards. I guess it depends on what you want to view them for, but I do like the shaping for it. I like the shark print. I think it looks really nice. It was definitely a pretty cool benefit to the set. The passenger compartment for the figure is probably the most difficult part about the set. So with the upper portion of the mech, there's not a lot of structural build for this. So I've noticed when I've tried to place Morgan inside of the mech that pushing her onto that peg system, because this is the only way that she sits in here, the mech itself has come apart like on the upper half, you know, snapped off from the lower half. So you gotta be careful with that. That's probably the weakest portion on the set, is getting the figure in and out. But once the figure sits in, the chest portions close up, and it looks really nice how it's all closed up together. The shoulder portions do come down, and she sits in there pretty nice. It's a pain in the butt to get her in there, so I'm not going to do it during the video. There is one printed piece for the set. So on the mech's left shoulder, we have that really nice Inferno style, like, you know, flame skull on the side. The whole mech, of course, is an olive drab. And then the last thing to note is that the fuel tanks in the back, so they are basically sitting on one of the, just on a rod, so they do move semi-freely back and forth. I would not any risk of falling off or anything like that, but there's a little bit of articulation with it, that it has some of that soft tubing that some of the flame troopers had to connect their flamethrowers to their backpack. So overall, I would say the look of the mech is really nice. Again, you know, I definitely picked it up for this reason, the mech, but I gotta say the micro action figure, having Morgan involved, was probably the highlight of the set. So most of you guys probably don't know, Morgan comes from the Halo Wars 2 universe. She was a DLC leader, or, you know, from a DLC pack. So she's not one of the most known characters, but very, very cool, part of the Hellbringer cores. It was nice to see Mega include, you know, kind of a DLC character, not like not as well of a known character, I guess, I should say, but overall, a really nice set to include a named figure with some really nice, you know, unique, and at this point, only way to get her armor. So overall, I would definitely say this is a good purchase. If you guys are thinking about getting this compared to other Cyclopses, I would definitely recommend if you can find this one. The articulation is really nice. The build was pretty simple. I love having the extra flood. Some of the flood sets were probably my favorite that Mega did back like 2014, 2015 range, back when they really started getting into the newer articulation style for the minifigs when, or the micro action figures when Call of Duty was coming out as well. But we haven't seen a lot of the flood sets, so it's been nice to see this. Hopefully Mega will continue in, you know, making flood sets. But besides that, guys, I don't have a whole lot else to say. Please like, comment, and subscribe. If you're new to the channel, I try to get videos out as soon as possible, but with any, you know, Mega constructs, it's kind of, we're at the discretion of distribution, which has been probably the biggest problem with any of the collectors. If you guys like Mega, or, you know, like these styles, it's probably the biggest difficult portion about trying to find these, is that the distribution is terrible. One last thing I will say before I end the video is, if you guys are into like the Acid Rain world, like the B25, this is very close to those mechs in like that scale range. So that's pretty cool. I have some of their mechs in the B25 wave. I don't have them out, but they are pretty much very close to that size. So another thing to think about too, if you guys are into the Acid Rain. But besides that, guys, I'll catch you next time. Bye.